is a doubter's diary? I'm going to tell you what my doubter's diary was all about. When you start out as a kid in minor hockey, you're going to have doubters all along the way. People that tell you you can't make it, people that tell you you can't do this, can't do that. Could be coaches, other parents, could be even your own parents. There's a lot of doubters in your career, and it's important to note them. And here's what I did. As a kid growing up, I started maybe like most kids, second grade during career day. Our teacher, won't mention her name, she said, you got to pick something you want to do when you grow up. And I said, you know what? I want to play in the NHL for the Toronto Maple Leafs. And I wrote that on a piece of paper. She wrote in the primary pencil with the red, pick something more realistic. I said, really? So I wrote that down and I started my doubter's diary in the second grade. She was the first one. Second one was a junior B coach, kept getting cut. Got cut from junior B 3 years in a row. I wrote his name down, what he said to me. Sorry, Keeks, don't have a spot for you on the team this year. 3 years in a row. College hockey, head coach didn't think I was going to play in the NHL. Wrote his name down and exactly what he said to me. Same thing, my first minor league coach in the pros. Same idea. Doubted me, said that wasn't going to happen for me. Wrote it down. So on December 5th, 1990, I played in the NHL for the Vancouver Canucks against the New Jersey Devils. I made it to the NHL. Didn't call my parents after the game. I pulled out my doubter's diary, which I kept with me. And I went down each and every person, and I kept track of all their addresses, phone numbers, etc. And I called them after the game and said, you know what, it was possible. And through my growth as an athlete, I used that doubter's diary as positive, emotional, pushing fuel when I didn't feel like running up and down the hills doing wind sprints, lifting weights, doing whatever I was doing to kick my own ass. At the end of the day, that's how I did it. I kept track of all those people that, gave me a chip on the shoulder that they didn't believe I was going to make it, and I put them in my doubter's diary. And at the end of the day, that doubter's diary is what got me to the NHL. Well, you don't want to let pucks through you underneath you, so you have to deny access. So the one thing I really want goalies to be tight on is just making sure nothing through your armpits and nothing through your 5-hole or under your pads. I think just repetitively firing pucks at it and playing a lot of baseball, a lot of lacrosse ball against the wall, and just work on cushioning it and accepting the puck and making sure it gets into your pocket, not the palm of your hand. But it's just repetitive. Put the 10,000 hours in, like Malcolm Gladwell says, to become perfect or expertise in something, you got to put 10,000 hours into it. So just spend the time on it, catch pucks. I just think any crease movement transition drills that you do repetitively around the crease will help you, but the key is to do it at full speed. The biggest problem I see is when you have a physical skill mastered around the crease, people work at it slow, methodically, and just super, not top speed. And the problem is you get good at doing something half speed, not full speed. So to build agility and explosiveness around the crease, you got to deliver crease movement drills at full balls out, not half speed. Well, I started working at goalie schools when I was 17, hockey schools when I was 17, so I'm 52. You guys can do the math. I'm looking for goalies that don't mimic other goalie styles and have sort of their own style. When I used to scout in the Western League, they all played the exact same style, and you couldn't tell one kid from the other. So don't mimic other goalies. Just have your own style, but be a guy that controls the puck, rebound control, positional control, puck handling control, and have your own style. Up really high and just, functionally the way they would move around the crease where they mimic each other. They'd all look mirror, cookie cutter type goalies. So don't be a cookie cutter goalie, have your own style. And I guess if you want to distill it even further on that style continuum, it would be a patient butterfly guy, not a guy that's down early. Be a good thinker and be very patient on your edges. Less moving, more patience. If they're talking about checking out in front of the net and checking your mirrors, when the puck's in a non-dangerous spot in the corner on the half board, you should be checking out every couple seconds just to see where guys are and get a good mental image of where they are and where they're going to project to be in a couple seconds. So when the pass does happen, you don't get caught by surprise when it does actually get to them. If it's inside a stick length, like on a power wrap, a guy aggressively wrapping the puck, that's a perfect time for the RVH. When a guy's got the puck off to the side of the net, guys are covered in front and time and space are an issue, it's a perfect time for an RVH. But when a guy's got time and space and he's gapped out away from you more than a stick length, even if it's a shit angle, you should not be in the RVH. You shouldn't be in the RVH when the puck's over in the corner in a scrum. You shouldn't be in the RVH when the puck's on the end boards behind the net. You should only be down in the RVH when a threat is imminent and it's going to happen and he's got time and space issues. If he's got time and space and he's gapped, you're going to be eating it. It's likely related to conserving energy in a PK. You don't need to be doing explosive movements where you're super shot ready when the puck's in a perimeter non-threatening area. So I think goalies will adapt to conserve energy. So whatever skating they're using it to slow the tiredness down. Every goalie is going to be different. Some goalies right post, left post, like VH on one, RVH on the other, or even traditional overlap. I like the overlap for the most part, and when that's perfect for using when guys are at distance on poor angles, and when they're going to be shooting from over there. I think the RVH and VH are for when guys are on shallow angles and in tight. Copying shit they see on Instagram or YouTube. And copying NHL goalies as well as far as their mannerisms. Like if you can be a critical thinker and understanding technically what an NHL goalie is doing and watch them as a student, not as a fan, shooting water droplets up in the air like Holtby and Carter Hart to copy what they're doing without understanding why they're doing it and what's the theory behind it, or mimicking a stance or glove position just because an NHL goalie does it, that's the issue. You don't do anything without discernment and trying to think about why are they doing it and can it help me? And my best advice is don't mimic or copy anybody. Try to build your own brand. Yeah, I think, he's probably got a mental tick that goes with that sort of triggers him into a concentration mode or gets him into a focus mode, getting ready in the pre-shot release. So I think likely he's doing it because that's his trigger and he's not getting snapped along the ice. He's quick enough to have threat awareness to know to get his butterfly down and his stick there to coverage. I don't think any young goalie should be taught that or anybody should mimic it because it doesn't really functionally for the general public have any benefit, but he's doing it likely as a mental, bring things into focus, get ready, the shot's imminent type of thing. And that's exactly opposite of what an NHL goalie coach does. I could have kids from Sweden, Finland, England, wherever they're from, that playing in the NHL, maybe not England, but they all come from different goalie coaches. So, for instance, if your goalie coach is making you do a private lesson where you're RVHing for 50 minutes of it and he wants you to RVH overdose, that's a guy that's trying to change your style. I think the biggest misunderstanding that young goalies have how hard people actually work that make the NHL. People think they're working hard, people think they're doing enough, and they're not. I worked my ass off after my college career before my first NHL camp. I literally kicked the living shit out of myself every day all summer, followed the Knox program to a T, and during physical fitness testing, max VO2 on the Wingate, I got off at a certain time, just dead, passed out, puking on the ground, and Trevor Linden got on after me. And at the time that I fell off the bike, he was just still ass on the seat, just pumping away like he was going for a drive down the beach in Kitsilano or wherever the heck the beach is, Burnaby. So he's in such amazing shape. Told me that no matter what the heck I thought I was doing, there's people out there kicking their ass way harder than you are right now. And that's a takeaway for anybody that's watching this. If you think you're working hard right now, you're not. So a college or junior guy, understanding a work ethic and physical fitness is, obviously there's stuff you can do off season and in season. They got to vary because you can't kill yourself when you're playing. But in the off season, an NHL guy is spending 5-6 hours a day on his training, not just going to the gym for an hour and throwing some weights and doing some squats or some stretching. And this is goalies I'm talking about, not just position players. That a professional spends 5 or 6 hours every day in the off season training, give or take. It's like any skill. You just have to design a drill that's going to address that area. And I think critically study people that are successful on their post play, and study people that aren't successful. And maybe look at your own video to find out what you're doing well in your post play and some very specific things that you're doing wrong. So for instance, if you're RVHing and you're getting pucks through you, look at your seal in the RVH. If guys are gapping you over your head when you're in the RVH, handle the post play by standing up or overlapping. So I think you really have to drill down on exactly what you're doing right or wrong, and then zero in on the exact issue you're having and work on that specifically. I think they've been adjusting well, to be honest with you, since I started the hashtag RVHfail thing and preaching like crazy on it. I see goalies a lot more now aren't down on the post in the RVH when pucks are in corners and in non-dangerous areas. So they're getting a little more selective on it. So I think generally across the board, they're adapting. Tracking simply means watch the puck intently. And with a young athlete, if you just tell the kid to watch the puck in and out, that's simple. Tracking is just a made-up buzzword. An NHL goalie coach will have some incremental improvements with their goalies at that level, but at the end of the day, you're just trying to get them to be the best. Belfour, for instance, there's no way I'm going to improve him. I'm just going to try to maintain the stuff he had and get him playing his best. So at the NHL level, it's less about improvement. It's more about improving and adapting to what they're doing so they can have a long career. Your minor league guys, you are trying to build improvement and consistency and control elements with them. But once the guy's in the NHL, you're basically just trying to create longevity, consistency, and just the ability to maintain what they have. I just don't like seeing goalies that try to make it about themselves on the ice. So guys that overhandle the puck, guys that try to hit the empty net with a 1-goal lead, guys that try to show up people by getting all tough in scrums and hacky-wacky when they're 170 pounds of just pure wimp. And so I've always said on that topic, if you're that tough as a goalie, take your helmet off, drop your gloves, and then go start acting tough. To do it with your helmet on, your blocker, trapper, and your stick is not somebody being tough, that's somebody being a punk. So if you're tough, take your stuff off and go challenge somebody. Stop stopping the puck and start controlling the puck. And I think that's one of the biggest myths people have, is they believe the goalie's supposed to stop a lot of pucks. If you can control the puck, like I've said before, you drive a Lamborghini. If you stop it, you're just going to be popular with your beer league teammates. I think any goalie that gets caught looking at your face is going to be getting ready for a face-off at center ice. Goalies are intently focused on the stick-puck relationship to give them some semblance of trajectory of the puck. If they use peripheral vision to notice your head or whatever that might happen as additional information, but their primary focus is locked on that stick-puck relationship at all times. They'll look off the puck in non-dangerous times, but when you're carrying the puck and you're in a threatening area, the only thing they're looking at is your stick and your puck. Yeah, but the thing to that too as well is that's why shooters have to be very aware that to get a goalie to bite their knees or to bite onto a good fake, the shoulders, wrists, and all that other stuff is very loosely going to cause them to bite. What will cause them to bite is when they see that stick moving away that looks like the puck's coming and then they do something. So most pro shooters, if they're going to try to generate a knee drive out of a goalie, will give you a good open stick fake, and then they'll pull it and shelf it. And they won't just pull it and shelf it. They'll get the goalie to bite on something, and then they pull it. So if he's a shooter, my advice to him to be, make sure you understand they look at the stick-puck relationship, and you got to sell them on that being a shot before you do a deke. I don't know. Every game should be just the next puck. There should be no awareness it's halfway through a season or it's halfway through a game or halfway through a period or anything. If your goalie is so focused on the next puck, none of that stuff, trends halfway through the year or any of that stuff ever come to their mind. They're only worried about the next puck. That's all they think about.